Welcome to Parchment Update, an interview series from the Parchment Community Library to bring your community closer to you. I'm Karen Woodworth, Library Ambassador. I'm joined today by Kent DeBoer, Chair of the Parchment Planning Commission. Thank you for being here today.
Happy to do it.
Well, the Planning Commission is hosting a branding session for the mill site at the Parchment Community Library on Monday, August 12th at 6 o'clock. What is the purpose of the branding session?
Before I discuss the purpose, I'm going to back up a little bit and first talk about what is branding. Branding is something that we all know what it is, but we don't know that we're being influenced and that we know what it is. And I've got some examples of branding we're all aware of. When we're watching television, we see a red circle colored in with red. We know the next thing we'll see is an advertisement from Target. The red circle, that's branding. Nike, we see the swoosh and the words, just do it. That's branding right there. With the Nike, they can either use just the swoosh and we know what it's all about, or they can say, just do it. We know we're talking about Nike athletic products. Pure Michigan is another one. You see that logo and the words, the pure is in block letters. It's a cursive blue M, no coincidence there. And then the Michigan is block letters, Pure Michigan. It's brilliant. They combined words and a logo into one thing. That's branding. And right now, when we're watching television, we see the 5 Olympic rings interconnected. We know the next thing up is going to be something to do with the Olympics. And then finally, from our childhoods, when we see the silly looking orange and black tiger standing on the screen, belting out the words, they're great. Kellogg's cornflakes, obviously, that is branding. And that's what I say, we all know what it is and we're influenced by it. And that's what branding is. It's very simple, but very important to a product. The purpose of the event, and again, it's very simple. What the Planning Commission is going to try to do is select a name for the site. That's what we're trying to do. It can consist of words by themselves. It could consist of a logo by itself, or a combination of words and a logo. So that is the purpose of the project, simply put. We're trying to select a name. That's the purpose. And the selection of the name, it's not something that maybe the Planning Commission just cooked up. Because the EPA is deeply involved in this whole mill site. Branding, we have to use the word branding, and we also have to do it. That is an EPA requirement for grant money. We have to do this. But it's also helping the city out and the Planning Commission. After this event is over, we will no longer refer to that as the Dumpy Mill site. Those days will be over, and seriously, those days will be over.
Yeah, that cannot be the brand of the Dumpy Mill
No,
site.
that's what
Nobody wants that.
That's what everybody calls it. And it's like, no, we're done with this now. So that's the purpose of the event, is to select a brand. And it's going to help, aside from the fact it's an EPA requirement, it's going to help with marketing the thing too. Something that's catchy and it can be used in marketing. What can people, okay, to back up a little bit again, the entire mill site, or I should say, all of the city-owned property in the city of Parchment that is available for sale, so that obviously excludes parks, has been rezoned as a planned unit development. And the mill site is a planned unit development. And the point of that is that it gives the city, a lot of latitude in saying what goes on that piece of property. Before, it was zoned heavy industrial, and if some entity came to the city and they had a metal shredder or a rendering plant and it met the requirements of an industrial site, it's like, okay. But now, outlined in the master plan, the Planning Commission has some very detailed criteria of what we would like to see on the mill site. And we can do that because it's a planned unit development. It gives the locals lots of control over what we ultimately see go on down there. And the branding event is just kind of the first step in as we reimagine the mill site as being something a lot more than just an eyesore down there.
Yeah,
And
I was going to ask you, and I think you touched on a little bit already, how this ties into the larger project of redeveloping the mill site in Parchment.
this is key to redeveloping the site because, well, we can't, if we want potential developers to be interested, we can't refer to it as the dumpy mills. I mean, that's just, it's not going to happen. And key to this whole process in the redevelopment of the mill site is the fact that the city manager was able to secure an $800,000 grant from the EPA. And that's where they start, they have requirements, they will provide the money, which they have provided, and that is allocated for us. And that's just happened, I believe it was end of October. So that money is sitting there for us, but there are requirements for us to, avail ourselves of that money. Let's see. So what we're wanting people to contribute really is names. And this will require people to think about it and use their imaginations. What should we call the place? What shall it be referred to going forward? What should a logo possibly look like for the mill site? And that's what we're looking. So it should be kind of a fun event. Imagination's required and no holds barred. We want all ideas that could possibly be provided. Let's see, other things, let's see. Oh, what's going on down at the mill site right now? Right at the moment, physically nothing, but there's a lot of what I call background work getting done ahead of actually physically doing things down at the mill site. As I mentioned, the city manager was able to secure an $800,000 grant from EPA. And this is not to redevelop the buildings. This is just to clear the site up, clear the rubbish out, the debris, the dead. I've been down there. It's a horrid, horrid mess. There may be underground tanks, there may not. We don't know, but that's what the money is, to just scrape the site clean with the building sitting there. The city has, this is the background things. The city has retained Fishback engineers for site design. Cities retained Pren and Newhoff engineers for infrastructure design, and that would be pipes and culverts and sewers and things of that nature. The city is continuing to be guided by its municipal attorney, but in addition to that, city has also retained the services of an attorney that specializes in real estate development. So we're putting the team together that is going to be needed to put that project together. And I will mention that all of the entities I mentioned are all Kalamazoo-based companies. And whenever possible, that's going to be, we're going to try to do that with local entities. Let me see, other things that I would like to mention was that, additional things that are going on, and most people probably don't realize that things are sort of happening down there. Is kind of an aside, Parchment has just benefited from a new business coming to town in the Carl's Barbershop building. Carl's will continue to be cutting hair down there, but the building was sold to a musical instrument maker, and they make it called Independent Drum Lab, and they make drums, musical drums, and they will be making drums down there. These are not the type of drums you get your 7th grader. These are professional quality drums, extremely nice products. So they're down there. Let's see, building restoration is continuing to restore their property. They're not part of the PUD, but they are right adjacent to it. And as part of the PUD, the city was contacted a month ago, and it surprised us, and we were delighted by the Kalamazoo Curling Club, the stones with handles that scoot across the ice. And they have been in front of the Planning Commission talking, and they have also been in front of the City Commission, and they are in the process of raising money now. Nothing's cast in stone, but they are extremely interested in being part of the entire development down there, and they are in the PUD.
These are all really exciting new
Oh, I know
developments.
it.
I'm so glad
This
you're
is,
sharing these. Yeah.
and let's see, in the property that the curling club is interested in is right across the street from the old administration building. So they have great plans for that. I mean, they could have gone anywhere, but there are incentive because it's a brownfield. There are incentives for them to be in Parchment, and like, you know, we can be in Parchment. Plus, we have several restaurants down the street that can supply food to curling events, and it could be a good relationship. Food, coffee, and the other thing that many people aren't aware of, and the planning commission is, and Fishbeck has helped us to understand it, is that reusing these old industrial facilities is an absolutely quite hot as far as interest right now. Fishbeck has done some research and they're like, wow, talking to the city again, you have really got something here. And just my own experience, my trade magazines monthly, it's reusing industrial buildings. That's where the interest is right now. So we really have something. And just this week I saw in Grand Rapids where developers are wanting to work with it's the Shaw Walker Furniture Company, and developing that in apartments in multi-use and condominiums. So everybody that has these old buildings suddenly realizes they've got something that people want. And
Yeah, those old buildings, they sure have great bones. Well,
oh yeah,
going back to the branding session,
yes,
it's on Monday, August 12th,
yep,
6 o'clock at the Parchment Community Library. And I think you're serving refreshments, is that correct?
it is correct.
Okay, is there
They're going to
anything
be
else you'd
very
like
good.
us
They'll
to
be
know about
very good
that?
refreshments too. The other thing is if you're interested in the branding session, RSVPs aren't required, but you know, if you want to let, you know, City Hall know, that'd be appreciated, just so we can have enough food for everybody. You can RSV by either emailing the city manager, it's manager@parchment.org, or you can call City Hall at 269-492-3263. Or if you have suggestions and you just don't like being in a public forum and talking in front of people, you can also drop your suggestions off at City Hall by August 8. Or you can visit the new website to contribute ideas at one word, parchmentspeaks.org. So if you can't attend the session or don't like talking in public, you can provide your suggestions, logos privately to the city. So, and again, we want ideas. That's really why we're doing this. We want ideas. What are we going to call the site down there? So it's very simple, but very important.
Okay, well, it sounds like a great event. Thank you so much for taking the time
Sure.
to share the information today.
Oh, glad to do it.